there, Tim. That snuck up, didn't it?
It did.
We almost weren't ready. Well, hello. Welcome to If These Walls Could Talk. I'm Wendy Stuart.
And I'm Tym Moss. Hi.
And we're so happy to be here with you today.
Yes.
Oh my God, it's so cold out, Tim. I can't
Oh
stand
God,
it.
honey, just wait. This weekend's going to be worse.
Plummeting.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I don't know if I can handle that.
7 degrees, and then there's that old evil wind chill.
Yeah, the wind chill's supposed to be like below zero.
This girl needs to go to Florida. If anyone has a job out there for me emceeing, performing in a show, and you're south, please call me, call Tim. We're available.
Yeah. I love to go to Florida.
I know. It's like the best.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not going to get into Florida politics.
Okay, no, we're not going to get into that right now because we're all happy.
Absolutely. And the reason that we're happy.
We're happy because we went to the Glam Awards. Yay! It's better than Disney.
Which is located in Florida.
Right, but it is better than Disney. And here's why. Here's what we love. So for those of you who don't know what the Glam Awards it's the Academy Awards of nightlife in New York.
In actuality, it was created for the drag community. And it still is predominantly about the drag community because New York nightlife, I think, extends to to cabaret and rock clubs.
They did have cabaret. Our friend Ike Avelli, who we love and adore, he was up for cabaret award. Yeah,
for
but
50
you're right.
Shades of Gay, which I'm also in.
Right, predominantly for the drag community. However, they have expanded in the category that I really love the most. They're now honoring the support people. Think about that, everyone. Mm-hmm. When you go into a club, you've got the person at the door, you've got the person behind the bar. You have the person that organized the party to begin with. Right. The promoters and all of that. Never forget your nuts and bolts. Okay. To keep that squeaky wheel oiled, you need a lot of parts. That didn't make any sense at all. But you all know what I'm saying.
But yeah, I usually keep my nuts and bolts in order. So
and oiled. And the other thing I loved about the Glam Awards, of course, was, you've got people that are not nominated. They're kids with day jobs that put every ounce of creative effort into how they look that night. I'm telling you, it could be like Fashion Week.
It's stellar. Yeah. It's every drag queen in New York City coming out, and there's a lot of them coming out together one night.
Thank you.
And giving it their best. Right. And it's the performances are off the hook.
They're unbelievable.
Oh my God.
Right.
This is the night that everybody in nightlife, in that area of nightlife, it's really the best night of the year, in my opinion.
I totally agree. We had the best time, and oh my God, Jackie Cox and Laguna Blue, of course, were our hostesses with the mostest this year. So, and I have to give a shout out. Thank you, B&B Couture, for the gorgeous dress that I had.
That was fabulous.
And Alexis Flame from
that necklace.
Crystal Fire.
Oh my God.
The necklace, gorgeous. There were coordinating earrings. However, everybody, look, I have clip-on ears. And Alexis had given me double stick tape for these earrings. They must have weighed like a pound each.
Oh, wow.
So even with the double stick, they wouldn't stay on. So, but you'll get to see my necklace. Look at our pictures.
Oh my God.
Enjoy. It was such incredible visuals that night. Now I have a really, very important news. April 1st. You all know I'm a member of the Imperial Court. April 1st is Night of 1,000 Gowns.
Yes, also at Sony Hall.
And it is going to also be at Sony Hall. We are now selling tickets for that. Everything that the Imperial Court does, of course, is to benefit other organizations like the Tyler Clementi Fund.
Oh, wonderful.
Just to name a few. It is your night to shine. You'll be not only supporting a wonderful organization, but you're going to get to wear something that you've always wanted to wear in your entire life. You can be like big, you can be colorful, you can put on every jewel you have in your drawer.
You can be royalty.
Thank you.
Most of them are. They come in all of this royal garb.
They do. They're royalty. I'm royalty.
Stunning.
What my court name? I was Lady Wendy Darling. Then I was Viscountess Wendy Darling, and they made me Countess Wendy Darling. But to everybody who knows me, I'm Discountess Wendy Darling. God,
I love that.
I know it's great. Shout out here to Rhonda Potter. Sugar Be Real gave a birthday fundraiser. She's from the Imperial Court. The proceeds of that went to help the victims of Colorado Springs. And Rhonda is so brilliant. She coordinated other Imperial Courts around the country to have simultaneous fundraiser.
Mhm.
So it's all, Tim, it's about giving back.
Yep,
right?
absolutely,
I'm
absolutely.
so excited.
But I've had such a busy week. Oh
You've
my
been crazy.
God.
You were doing the interviews at the Glam Awards.
Yeah, I interviewed at the Glam Awards, but the night before that, I was doing interviews at the Angelica Theater for a movie called The Beast Inside.
The Beast.
Yes.
And that's Sadie
which was
Katz,
Sadie Katz,
who's been on our show. Well, not live streamed, but we had her on.
And let me think, what else did I do? I shot a film,
Yes.
or I shot one of my scenes. I got to go back again in a couple of weeks for a film that George Zofilos is doing called Once a Week for Life.
Ooh.
And so I'm excited about that project. That's very fun. So.
And I was in
and there was other
rehearsals
stuff I can't remember
for a film that I have that I'm going on location to do in the middle of February. I'm very excited about. It's called Advice from My Brother, and it's an amazingly poignant story. And that's all I can say at this point. And I'm just so happy to, it's all for us. It's all about, we just want to work.
I also got offered this incredible role. It's just a one night only at, I think, and it'll be in Midtown, but I'll let you know. But it's very intense. It's the kind of role that I cannot wait to just sink my teeth into it. But firstly, I just want to say thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss. And we will be right back with our incredible guest, the fabulous Jim Silvestri. Yay!
So I single-handedly, I have to share this. I'm not just saying this because he's our guest, but Jim Silvestri, to me, single-handedly kept our community alive during the pandemic.
Absolutely.
He has the most comprehensive list of any shows that are happening in any of the gay bars in New York, in New Jersey, Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, and I don't know how he does it. To keep up with that must take hours.
Yeah, every day sends out a schedule of who's playing at what club at what time, and just amazing.
Your friends come to New York, all they have to do is go on Thotasy.
I've done that many times.
Right,
I have friends come in from out of town. I'm like, who's playing where? I go to Thotasy.
And during the pandemic, everything was shut down. We were putting our shows online, but Jim was right there. He jumped in like. Never missed a listing. Okay. Then he started a podcast this year. He podcasts from Red Eye with Freddie Cosmo. Really fun podcast, which we're doing after this show. I'm so excited.
After this.
Then he produces at Playhouse. He does I'm calling it a tea dance. I don't know that he calls it that, but if it's in the afternoon for me, it's tea time. Tea time in the afternoon. And not to mention, he does, private events as well. I just want to honor someone that has done so much for our community. Let us welcome the one, the only Jim Silvestri. Come on in. Come on into the eye of the camera.
Hello.
Just
oh my goodness.
Slide right in.
What a nice setup here.
Just slide into us.
We've got all kinds of room. Anyone
my
wants
hair looks terrible.
I know when you see yourself.
It's great.
Your hair's fine. You
It's
had a
so
hoodie
good.
on it
Listen,
too.
It's still on my head. So
Right.
Really, what can
You
say?
know what? Thank you for saying that. It's thick. It happens
Yes.
to be for those of you who are watching Salt and Pepper and thick.
It's long and thick.
Yes,
like-
absolutely.
The word on the street.
So they say. Yes, I just read that in the bathroom stall. I'm very flattered.
I didn't want to say
Flattered.
anything, but I had seen that in there.
I was always afraid to come on the show because I thought I would look like 900 pounds, but this is a very nice setup.
Oh,
that-
good.
Yeah,
Wow.
because Alan
Yeah.
Capel, my husband, lights it, and he, his fashion
Mhm.
background knows how to
Very
light us.
nice.
And we're here at live at Pangea,
Yeah,
which is a
Yes.
beautiful setting.
gorgeous.
Jim, you have interviewed so many people that have performed at Pangea. So
Yeah,
many-
I guess I
Right.
have.
Yeah.
I really want to talk to Joey Arias. I think you guys.
Oh,
you guys
Joey,
got him,
love.
and I haven't talked.
You
to him
haven't
yet.
talked to
Oh,
Joey.
you should
Yeah,
have him
yeah.
on your show.
Yeah.
I would love
definitely.
to. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Oh,
thing
Joey's
and the
fun.
thing about Joey, what I love, you interview these people and you find out it's not some affectation. One of Joey's stories was at 4 years old, taking toilet paper rolls and gluing them
Yeah.
to the bottom of his shoes.
Oh, Lord.
I'm like, Joey, why did you do that? Because he wanted to wear stilettos.
Uh,
Joey has always been, this is what you learn and why I love doing the show. He always was Joey Arias. And
Mhm.
Kevin Aviance was always Kevin Aviance.
Yeah.
I thought I was the only one that glued toilet paper rolls to my.
Oh, there you go. You have something in common. There you
Wow,
are.
small world.
So Jim, I was very surprised to find out. I didn't realize you were a borough person like myself. You're from Queens.
Born and raised in Queens,
Mhm.
College Point, Queens, which is
Where is that?
It's like by the LaGuardia Airport.
Okay.
It's like the swamp basically. It's like a little
It is.
slice of Kentucky in Queens, kind of like the middle of nowhere.
It
very
is
remote.
kind of. You have marshes there.
Do you have marshes? We're literally
Jim,
sinking. Like they always try to build like big malls.
They
and
can't build
department
anything there. I know
stores.
the area. You can't build
and
anything.
everything
there
is like
because it's
sinking.
Oh
It's
my
awful.
God.
It's awful.
But yet you survived.
I did survive.
Catholic school background.
Catholic school
Catholic
my
school always
whole
would go-
life.
Well,
yeah.
tell me, what was that like growing up at Catholic
Yeah.
school in Queens?
Well, I didn't really know any better. Like at the time, the public
Right.
schools were crappy. So
Yeah, where
Uh-huh.
you
I
were,
went to
or
my-
the College Point area.
Yeah.
Yeah, your parents didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
I'm letting them off the hook.
Yes, exactly. But also, my mom was a teacher in the schools, and she wound up
Oh,
being
okay.
my 8th grade teacher, which was super weird.
Oh, that would be.
You know,
Wow.
your kid's gonna get really screwed up when that works out.
So
that way.
when you were in her class,
Yeah.
and you raised your hand, would you
I called her
address?
nothing.
I was going to say,
did not call
Mrs.
her
Silvestri
anything.
or
never.
hey, you.
I have a sister who's 5 years older than me, and she was her student also, and she had a much worse time with it.
She
Mm.
did.
was
Well,
a
that's the
teenage
female
girl,
thing.
yes.
Teenage girl with a
Uh-huh.
mother
Yes.
and everything.
Yes. I like abused my power a little bit as the teacher's son, but she was like she wanted nothing to do
The
with
girl was out of control.
So you grew up in Queens.
it. Yes.
And you mentioned your sister. Do you have any other brothers and sisters?
No, just one sister.
Just
one
one
older
older
sister.
sister.
Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
I was the baby of the family.
And so, yeah,
Baby
I was too.
Jim,
And wasn't that
baby
great?
Timothy.
Wasn't
Yeah,
that
it was
nice?
because
Because by
pretty
the
great.
time it got to you, it was like your sister had already paved the way.
Yes.
And so, because I got away with everything. I got to
Yes.
do everything. And my brother and sister were always like, well, I never get to do that. when I was
Because
your age."
right, because you had laid the groundwork. So Jim, what were you? I'm trying to imagine what you were like as a kid.
I was very quiet and
Quiet.
shy. I kept to
Mhm.
myself. I like to write and draw a lot.
Artistic.
Artistic. I did
Mhm.
watch like tons and tons of TV. In the 80s, you watched tons of TV. So I would just
Mhm.
watch
You
like
did.
cartoons in the morning on Saturday and like the facts of
No,
life
I
at night.
miss that. I miss
Yes.
Saturday morning cartoons. Now they have
Yes.
the cartoon channel, and
Oh yeah, no,
none of
oh,
it. They
yeah.
don't even have
No,
cartoons.
I'm
on
just thinking
Saturday
Jim
morning.
in the 80s was watching cartoons and I was at Studio 54. Oh my
Yeah.
God, I'm dating myself. You were watching cartoons.
I was watching
and
cartoons at Studio 54.
There you go.
That's
That
different.
makes a ton of
Yeah.
sense to me.
They were really good.
Now, what cartoons would you watch?
Let's see. I would watch like Voltron.
Okay.
Voltron, wow.
Thundercats,
Yeah.
the Ninja Turtles. They came out later.
Now, were you a Saved by the Bell kind of guy?
Yeah, I guess I was age appropriate for Saved by the Bell.
Uh-huh.
I feel like I was already maybe like a little too old to watch it, but I
Right.
watched it, and I watched like 90210, and I was
Okay.
You love that show.
Okay.
big on 90210.
Wow.
Yes.
Were you very cerebral? So I'm going to tell you what the hits I get from you.
Okay.
Right now we're in the psychic portion of the show. No, but
You had me at cerebral.
very, very cerebral. You would probably use the word to describe yourself introverted. Okay,
Very, yes.
as I'm like ultra extroverted,
Right.
but it's because you're so cerebral. It's just a different kind of extroverted, but it's in your mind.
I will say, when I was growing up, I was much smarter than I am today.
Yeah.
I read everything, and I had
Wow.
so many interests, and I wanted to know how things were.
Right, you're curious. You're
Yes, but I was also
insatiable.
kind of lost in fantasy land, so I like to read like Tolkien and
So
Lord
now
of the
you
Rings.
interview
Wow.
you interview
Now-
the drag community.
now I'm living-
Lost. You're living the fantasy.
I'm living in somebody's fever dream. I'll say that. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
God.
Waiting for somebody to wake up.
Whoever thought it would come to that. Now,
But just one quick
Yeah.
thing, just
we-
how things have changed and evolved. And when you were a kid and you were talking about watching Saturday morning cartoons
Right.
and all of that, you were really like the last generation where all of American society was kind of watching the same
Watching
thing.
the same thing. Yep.
And then cable came in, and now
too many
there's
choices.
thousands of
Right.
channels, or you can go online on the internet or
Yeah,
YouTube.
people don't
and
even watch
people,
TV anymore.
right?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
there's no unification
It's true.
with entertainment
And too many
anymore.
choices. You
Too
know.
many choices.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of these new shows, streaming shows, don't work because the numbers aren't as big as
Right.
they used to be when
Right.
everybody
Well,
was
you
watching the
can't-
same
when we
thing.
were all
Right,
watching,
but
yeah.
you can't compare.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. And like Madonna came out with an album that I forget which one it was.
Madam X, the recent one.
I think the one before
Ray of
that,
Life?
Candy,
Oh
or
God.
something. But it came out, and it was like $40 million in the first week, and they were like, "Oh my God, it's a failure."
Yeah, isn't that
I'm
crazy?
like, how can you call?
Right.
You know
Well,
that
this
is
is what we talk about
but
this all the
it's
time.
so
This is what it's
stupid to
become.
me.
Yeah, that's why everybody hates on Beyonce for doing a $24 million Dubai concert. But
Right.
that's who's going to turn down $24 million?
Excuse me, girls got to
Exactly.
make a living.
Yeah,
She's absolutely
exactly.
got to make
Because
a
I
living.
guarantee it
you don't make the
started.
money from ticket sales anymore.
Exactly. I
Music
guarantee it
sales.
started at like $1 million, and she was like, "No,
No.
I don't want to do." Well, how about $5 million? No, I don't want to have.
Yeah,
10.
right.
They hit
Listen,
the number. They
Our
hit the number.
our Beyonce has to have a lavish lifestyle. What's the
And
point
she
of
does.
Beyonce?
You know
Yeah,
what?
she doesn't.
And she's Beyonce. I'll say
Yes.
that. I bet. Did you get your Madonna ticket?
Oh fuck no! Excuse me.
It's okay. You
Okay.
can swear.
Okay.
Wait, Chauncey, our producer, if you're listening,
And-
I'm sorry that he answered that
And the
way.
screen just went blank.
Chauncey,
No,
right?
it's-
Chauncey
Oh, the
cut
plug
us
on the
off.
show.
It's not that I don't love Madonna. I do not understand how you homosexuals. I see how you live. How do you afford these tickets?
Right.
How do you do it?
Right.
I work in Kojak. Like I would have to work in Kojak for like 4 years to get
To
those
get a
tickets.
Madonna ticket.
If
Yeah.
somebody gave me Madonna tickets, or like I earned it in some way,
Yeah.
I would go. I would go.
Right. But you've just brought up a good point. Okay, nobody has sat down. I'm big on demographics. I can't produce a flow chart for you. I love
Right.
using words like that. Who bought the tickets, their
Right.
age group, their socioeconomic group.
Yes.
If their parents are paying, come on, there's a ton of people. Parents can afford to pay for
Yeah.
everything.
But I guarantee her base right now
Yeah.
used to are the 90s, the 80s, the 90s
Right.
kids
Right.
that
Yes.
are now old enough, and maybe parents, or if
Yeah.
they're gay,
No.
they've got she's hitting the 50 to 60
Yes.
age range,
And that's who can afford,
which can
who
afford
it.
yeah.
right?
I-
do
and
you
she's,
know what I
and
call?
she's
Yes.
pushing it like she
Right.
always has.
Do you know what
She's
I call
always been a
them?
marketer.
Especially the gay couples, Deeks, double income queens.
Yeah.
And no, it is. They're buying houses.
Yeah,
True.
right.
Oh, now the resentment comes out. You
I
hear
I
me.
should be in that demographic,
Right.
but
Jim
my
should be
development's been a little arrested these past few years. So.
Arrest. So I want to talk about your arrested development.
Okay.
So and you don't have to tell me when you came out, but when was your first
Yeah, what
affinity
was
to the
your-
gay club scene and the whole
I
scene?
was a late in life.
Yeah,
And
I
as
was-
far as
I
that goes.
feel
Last
you were a
week,
late
yeah.
bloomer.
I was
Wait, Tim said
Last
last
week.
week.
Speaking of, like, I was the last generation of this and that. I was like the last generation of like shame and like internalizing all
Oh,
that.
you did,
and wanting
right.
to deny. I'm not saying that doesn't exist anymore, but I don't think it's the norm anymore.
No,
Right,
no.
right.
Depends on where you grew up, but
Right.
Right.
I was very much part of that. I wanted everything, I wanted that to not be the case.
You wanted to be straight.
Yes.
You wanted to be normal.
Normal.
Yeah.
I just didn't.
I
didn't.
know
You know
that.
My life was already complicated enough. I didn't
Mhm.
want to go down that route. I didn't want to be like one of those people.
Those people,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But you start. I was like always going out to straight bars. I had one in particular, and they were probably, like, in fairness, like the happiest times of my life. I would go by myself after my 9-to-5 job to.
Which
Oh,
was
fun.
what? Tell us about.
Oh,
what
I
it
was doing like marketing stuff in a law book publishing company.
Wow.
And I did that for 8 years.
Wow.
I did that for, like,
And
right
what
after
were
I
you like in your
graduated.
20s when you did
Yeah,
this?
I was in my 20s.
So you would go out to like a straight bar?
Yeah, I would go. It was like a pub, and it was
Mhm.
happy hour, and I'd go by myself, smoking my cigarettes when I could do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Smoke
Reading,
at the bar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Reading the Village Voice, reading Michael Musto's column in the
Right.
Village
When it was
Voice,
paper, when the Village
When
was
it
was
just
on
paper.
drinking my 9,000 calorie Brooklyn Lager. So
Right.
that I was very happy doing that for a while, but there was always a part of me that wanted,
But
to
now,
explore.
did you pick up girls while you were there, or did you ever have a girlfriend?
Very, very rarely.
Uh-huh.
I managed to skate by around that.
Yeah, you
for
could
the
dance
most
around
part.
that.
I could dance around that.
Right.
And then like one day I just got like drunk enough and I wound up on Christopher Street in like
I love
Monster.
it.
Don't we all?
Magic. Wait, at the Monster.
Didn't
Yes.
we all?
How many people got their start at the Monster? Raise your
Yes.
hands. That's right.
And it was it's very cliche.
It's-
It's like Christopher Street. That's all I kind of knew about. That's all I really
Uh-huh.
know about. But then I eventually gravitated towards the old Boots and Saddles. which
Yes.
is
I remember
on
that,
Christopher
yeah.
The
Street.
little place.
Yes,
Yeah.
pre-drag at the time. It was just like a
Right,
little divey
right.
bar.
Uh-huh.
And at the time, it was just all about cruising. So
Right.
that's
And Ties was there too.
Ties was there.
But-
I went to Ties. Ties is much
But
cruisier
wasn't
at the
that-
time.
Yeah,
Also,
Ties.
But the first time that you walked into Monster
yes.
and saw men with men and singing
Mhm.
upstairs and dancing down, wasn't that like liberating and just exciting? And
yes, also terrifying. Like
uh-huh.
I was, I would not have walked through that threshold if I wasn't like super drunk. To be
Right.
honest with
Yeah.
you. That's
A lot of
like-
people,
right.
right.
Well,
Yeah.
it takes a lot
Takes a lot.
to accept
Yeah.
that part of yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'll just say, like, I won't get into detail, but I had no idea how someone was supposed to behave
Right.
at a gay
Oh,
bar at
Right.
the time.
Exactly.
Wow.
So
Exactly.
I did really ridiculous things. When I think about
Okay.
it
You
now.
were just
But it's a
silly.
learning experience.
It was
Yeah,
learning. You were
exactly.
silly.
I
But
may
it got you
been-
in the door.
It got me in the door.
Right.
So maybe in my mid to late 20s, but I was still like a child in a way.
Right, exactly.
But you
So,
listen, there are people that never made it to that. Okay,
Right.
that got drunk, got married, had
Yep.
kids.
What a nightmare.
And-
Yes.
right.
I know some of them.
Right,
yes.
we know some of them,
Yeah.
and they just never
And
did
years.
it, and then they
Uh-huh.
turn around at
Yeah.
I know at 50,
Yep.
and they find the man of their
Yeah.
dreams, and they
Mhm.
have to blow up
Yeah.
their world. That's a lot harder when you blow up the thing that the
Yeah.
very thing that you
Yeah.
built.
Exactly.
You'd be surprised like how many straight friends I had in college that like
They're gay.
they get a divorce and they're like, hey,
Yeah,
what are you
right.
doing? What are you up to?
Yeah.
They're all in
Yeah.
the monster.
I haven't spoken to you in like 12 years.
Well, the thing is in those years, homosexuality, it wasn't, at least I came from the Midwest, it wasn't even spoken about.
No.
And it was not prevalent or visible in the community
Right.
at all. And now it is.
Of course,
And these
yeah.
people had went the route they thought they were supposed to take and having kids and getting married.
Yes.
And now
Yeah.
now that it's much more acceptable,
yes.
they're
Right.
willing to try it.
Right.
Or
Pretty
but-
much, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the thing is oh my God, I have one guy right now that's after me that did that.
Yeah.
And he's just romanticizing the whole thing.
Yeah.
Imagining
Well,
what
because
it's like
right.
and all of this
Yeah.
and
You're his fantasy.
yeah.
It kind of
Tim Moss is his
Yes.
fantasy.
like one good thing about that is like it doesn't really matter when you start. It's always gonna be messy. When you
Right,
start.
right.
It's
Well,
always
in
gonna
more
be
ways
messy.
That's
than
a
one.
t-shirt. Oh my God, we should
That
have
is-
that on a
that's right.
t-shirt. It doesn't matter when you start. It's
Yeah,
always
it's
going to
gonna
be
be
messy.
messy.
Dot.
If you start when you're 16, if you start when you're
Right.
Yep.
when you're 86, it doesn't matter. It's always gonna be messy in the
Right,
beginning.
right.
So like your memories of when you were like when you first started coming out and doing stuff, they're almost bad for everyone. It's like when you get into your groove, that's the happy
Getting
time.
into your
Uh-huh.
groove. Oh,
Yes.
station identification
Yes.
time.
Thank you everyone for tuning in to If These Walls Could Talk with your host Wendy Stuart Tym Moss and our wonderful guest
Yay.
Jim Silvestri right here.
Am I
Yay.
talking with my hands too much? I feel like
No,
that's
being
fine.
very
Josie
Italian.
just gets mad if you bang the table.
Oh,
Don't
I'm
bang.
sorry.
No, you didn't bang it
Okay.
at all. Tim and I sometimes bang the table. We get emotional on this show.
It's-
So, all right. We're in New York. By the way, you're blessed that you were close enough, right? That you were from a borough. Much harder, like for a Tim to come
Yes.
from a
Oh,
whole
God, yeah.
other place,
Oh, I'm
right?
sure that must have been
Right. So,
Mhm.
you
a whole
come
different
at
thing, yeah.
at the monster. What led you to I've been advertising you the king of New York nightlife. And really by that, I
Clearly.
mean,
clearly.
but clearly it's like you're not a club owner, but
No.
you know every goddamn thing that goes on. And how
And
many
everybody
Yeah.
knows you.
and everyone knows you. How many interviews have you done?
Over 1,000
Wow.
since
Wow.
2016.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
And again, coming from I am in nightlife and I
Yeah.
am so grateful for you
Thank you.
on so so many different levels.
Yeah.
Your
Thank
interviews
you.
are always so
They're really
so good
interesting,
and
yeah.
and in depth and personalized. Each one is personalized.
And you're
Well-
not afraid to ask dirty things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm a little afraid to ask dirty things.
But you do it anyway.
but I do it anyway, yes.
Dirty. I'm like, oh, that was dirty.
Yeah, sometimes it depends on the person. Like
Right.
if I know the person at all, even a little bit already ahead of time, then I'm a little more
Mhm.
fluid about what I'll ask them or
What
tell
you-
them.
What made it okay for you when I talked to you about coming on this show? This was a couple of years ago, and probably I didn't have this show 3 years ago,
Right.
or my whole life was different. And you were definitely a cerebral writer and all of that. And then I'm like, oh, Jim's coming out. You started doing the thing at Playhouse. And then I started to see your face.
Yeah.
And then you did, of course, Night of a Thousand Thoughts.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was
so
a great
fun.
night. What
That
was
was
the
fun.
catalyst behind all of a sudden you jumped from behind your pen and you're like, this is me?
That's a good question.
Mhm.
I never really intended to be, this is me. Like the reason why I started Thoughtsy, I just wanted to make a daily list of events because at that time I was only going to Boots and Saddle and for years.
More.
Right.
And I'm crazy and I'm not going to go and try something new unless I thoroughly research it.
Interesting.
Good for you.
So I made a big list for myself about what's going on
Interesting.
everywhere.
Good
And like,
story, good
and it just kind
story.
of occurred to me, oh, maybe this might be useful to somebody else. So I published it and I called it Thoughtsy, by the way, because there was a magazine at the time called Odyssey magazine.
Uh-huh.
So I was obsessed with the word thought. I was dating somebody much younger at the time. And it was just like thought. I thought it was the funniest thing.
Well, wait, hold on. What does THOT got to do with dating someone younger? Make this connection for me.
It was just a word that came out. And
That
was
he probably
young and
used
of
a lot.
the age. And
Of the age, right.
Because
Thought.
thought
Yes.
is like
I
a
thought.
slut.
That
and-
hoe,
Right.
that
Yeah.
hoe over there.
I love that.
That hoe
right.
Yeah, that hoe over there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
That's the perfect
at
explanation.
the time, I just thought it was the funniest thing. So I'm stuck with it now. Basically, is what I'm trying to say because Odyssey folded, and then now I have to explain to, and like no one really says thought anymore. So now I have to explain to every single person what it is. I have to spell it out, but I don't know. Maybe that helps it stick in people's heads.
It sticks in people's heads.
Yeah.
So absolutely. So it started off as your own
Odyssey,
personal
yeah.
list.
as my own personal list.
Wow.
Then I published it, and it very, very slowly started to catch on. And then I started doing the whole reason why I started interviewing anyone is because some queens were publishing things like, I do not understand what this is and who these people are. It's like, so I would interview them like, can you explain this to me?
Yeah,
and
right.
then that just gradually
And you just added
evolved
that
into like
Thoughtsy.
full interviews.
Right.
So it just kind of happened naturally.
I
And
love that.
when it started to catch on, I'm like, oh, maybe I can make some money off of this, and I'm going to get a writing staff, and I'm going to get photographers.
Whoa ho.
So I'm just going to make it a brand, and that never really happened.
Yeah. Well,
It's
the
just
brand
me
did.
doing all the damn things.
Okay,
Exactly.
but
I know that
the
feeling.
brand happened, right?
Yeah.
Tim's right, and it's the idea of what you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
If you had a trust fund,
Yes.
you could have done. We know the people that do that.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
is a reality,
God, that would have been amazing.
right?
Right.
But here's the deal:
Yeah.
you did this totally on your own. and
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
serve your community.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's kind of eventually how it started. And I didn't want to be like the face of it or anything. I didn't want to be like a nightlife person. I didn't want to like walk around in
Right.
like a suit with a look and be like, oh, walk around with like little 22-year-olds. But
Are you referring to Daniel Nardicchio? And Daniel's a friend. I'm just joking because we're going to see Daniel. I love Daniel. I've known him for forever.
I could never have the vibe of Daniel
yeah.
Nardicchio. It's
Yeah.
much cooler than me.
Yeah.
But so I didn't really want that. But I think what happened was Vincent Cooper, who produced a very large scale drag competition called Lady Liberty.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Right. Tim, weren't you a judge for
You were a
that?
judge,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, Tim,
Jim asked me to be a judge one night.
Yeah.
See, I remember everything Tim does.
He-
I'm like,
yeah.
Tim, that was something that
Yes.
you did. That's why
Yes.
I'm here.
Well, Vincent and Britta Filter was
Brita
hosting
Filter,
it.
right?
And I knew Britta a little bit from her. She had a show at Boots and Saddle at the time. And Vincent just like found me and asked me to judge it and be like the regular recurring judge. So that was a lot of work in a way to do that every week for
Right.
like
That
a
is-
year,
Yeah.
and then more so. But it really helped me. It
Come out in terms of the
People
you
saw
out
me.
there. That's what
yeah,
I'm
and
saying.
people a lot of people started to learn who I was from
Right.
that competition, and then it just became a thing. I just became the Thoughtsy guy, you know.
Yeah, and then people started checking out Thoughtsy and again, I use it. It's like a bulletin board.
Thank you,
for
Tim. Right.
for
Yeah.
New York nightlife entertainment, the gay entertainment in New York.
Yeah,
Because I've had like my bestie Nancy.
Yes.
She'll come
I
out.
love her.
She'll come
She's
out.
great.
She loved Thorgy
Krasinski.
Thor.
Right.
yes.
Kuharski. Yeah.
Yes,
Right. She's great.
she is great. Thorgy.
But she loved Thorgy.
Yes.
And so she came out, popped up one night, and I was like, okay, is Thorgy play? And she was hosting a bingo or something downtown.
And you were
Right.
able to.
And so I was
The
like, let's
Levine,
go.
yes,
And I
standard.
introduced her, and she loved it. And
Oh, great.
So I'm always looking at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
do you have any thought? Do you have a thought to take this?
I've used that pun so many times. Yes.
To make this brand nationwide, because they could use it in Dallas, they could use it everywhere.
So a lot of people have said that, we can use something like this in San Francisco and Dallas. Yeah, of course. I get Texas a lot. Yeah, I mean, that would be great. I think I really need to monetize what I'm doing right now in New York.
I was going to say, maybe sponsorship.
I get some paid advertisers.
Right.
Yeah. But that's not frequent. And a lot of it is my fault because I'm not aggressively pursuing that, but what I'm doing already takes so much time.
Okay, excuse me. No. Honest to God, when I was going over everything that you do now, and then I ran into you at Pieces. I think you were doing co-check there.
You're everywhere.
It's like ridiculous. Tim and I are everywhere, but you are, because you're doing the nightlife. I just when does this guy sleep? He works his butt off. When would you have? To find sponsors.
And you came to the movie premiere of Junk, the movie.
Yes, yeah, right.
You were there for that. You've come to 50 Shades of Gay.
Yes.
I mean, I'm just you're just popping every place, everywhere.
Basically, no matter, yes, I do need rest once in a while, but if somebody offers me free tickets to something, I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm probably gonna go because I love going to shows and I love seeing Tim and Wendy. I love seeing all the things that they do, and Ike.
We have a good time.
And I need to do my research, and because I also produce some of my own events, and I want to work with a growing cast of people and see what they do. So I always take the opportunities whenever they're presented to me to go out and
also Night of 1,000 Thoughts. I think even a couple times you had asked me to perform, and I was so grateful.
Yeah.
I loved those.
You did.
Shows.
I remember the first one.
Yes.
All right,
at
Tim.
Stonewall. I think. That was your birthday.
It was at Playhouse.
No, that was actually the fifth one that I did.
That was the fifth one.
That was Night of 5,000 Thoughts.
That was 5,000 Thoughts, right?
That was my big one. That was the Dragon Sisters.
That was.
Yes, I love the Dragon Sisters.
Okay, so let's. Now you got me on the Dragon Sisters, which I was talking about.
Amazing, right?
I want to have them on the show, but not only that, I started talking to them. I love going to things so I can talk to these people. Right? Yeah. That's what we all do. We interview people.
Yeah.
Their background, they met in ballet school.
Yes.
I mean, come on.
Yes.
They are so remarkable.
And they're lovely people.
Lovely people. Fascinating.
Yeah, fascinating.
Stunning.
And amazing performers.
Yeah. I can't take full credit for bringing them to Manhattan, but I'm just going to say, they were a lot of people have not seen them before when I asked them to host.
I had.
Oh, they hadn't seen them.
And you could tell, something happened in the room.
Well, they're bigger than
when
life.
They were performing. Yes,
they're
absolutely.
Just really. Yeah. They're stars.
That night they arrived.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
I think so.
But Night of 5,000 Thoughts, you performed that night, Tim.
Yes.
And
that was after I had been hosting Bronx Pride all day that day, out in the hot sun. I'm sunburned. I'm sore. I'm tired.
Yes.
But that I was in that audience, and Tim came out sunburned, sore, tired, not in any kind of attire that anyone else had on.
Yes, right.
Walked to the middle of that stage, and I was sitting in the audience, and there were a bunch of young ones around me.
A lot of young.
And they were like, "Oh, who's that?" And I'm like, "That's my friend Tim. He's really quite amazing." And you blew it the hell out of the water in that room full of kids. You did.
Yeah. And that was a scary time because I had a brand new DJ.
Right.
He was brand new.
And the microphone wasn't working.
There was a microphone delay, so I had to move all the singers to the end until we somehow figured out what was wrong with the microphone. You did, but it was me, and eventually got to me saying figure out how to fix the microphone.
But that's all of that is part of producing.
Yes,
you never know what's going to happen.
No, and it turned out great. And it was a great night. I remember it was a horrible rainy night outside.
Yeah, it was.
Yes,
but we filled the room.
It was packed. People were on top of each other. Yeah,
it was definitely one of the best things I presided over. Yes. And we had one this year, also very fun, but
which I couldn't
not as insane. But it was fun. Yeah,
it's hard. I mean, the challenge is getting to everything, and it is. You know why it's expensive? I'm not like some hoity-toity biatch, this Countess Wendy Darling that will only take, Ubers everywhere. I'm a New York girl. I'm on a budget. I got to take the subway a lot of the time. But late at night, it's gotten scary taking the subway. So I have to, it gets expensive. How do these kids do it?
I don't know.
They
I don't
just
know.
and they're in drag. A lot of them don't
They-
change out.
They all take Ubers.
Yeah,
They
they
take
don't. Yeah, they
Ubers,
don't
yeah.
take the
It is-
train.
it
They all have money to
expensive
take
to take Uber.
Ubers.
Well,
Well-
they usually the tips they get that night goes to the Uber ride home.
They'll figure it out. They'll negotiate.
They'll
something.
figure
Yeah,
it out,
yeah.
right?
But yeah, it's a chore.
Hmm.
It's
and
a
it's a
chore.
burden. It can be like traveling around the city sometimes. You know, when I do late night things, now I'm in Queens. I used to take the train all the time, but some subway stations are sketchier than others.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now West
absolutely.
4th Station, it's like now you're like in the 7th circle of hell.
Right. And I used to take trains alone from there. So there you go. That's changed. Yeah.
You'll
it's
have to
us.
excuse me because I can't see the time up there, but I know I
Oh,
missed
here.
a couple.
Oh, here. No,
But,
2:35.
Okay.
Here we go.
But thank you everyone for tuning in to If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our wonderful guest, the fabulous Jim Silvestri, right there.
Hands are so fast.
Right.
Now,
right here.
not only Thodacy, tell us about, because one thing leads to the next,
Yeah.
which leads to
And
the
you
next.
built
Like
it. We
Thodacy
want you
led
to build
to
it.
Night of a Thousand Thoughts.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so on.
Yes.
And now you've got the podcast.
So I have a podcast I just started. We were on
It's a couple of
episode
months ago.
24, 25. We've been doing it every week for, I guess, 25 weeks. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Do
know
the
it's been
math.
like
That's
6
3 months, 4 months.
every
5 months?
week. Yeah, you have 25. Yeah, I think
I know-
I've been
I know how
following
it gets
5 or
mixed
6
up.
months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Damn. Wow. Okay. 5 or
So
6
tell
months.
us about that.
Again, that's another thing that I never intended to do. I did not want to like put myself out there, put my voice out
I
there.
know.
I always want to like just push the brands
people.
and
Yeah.
other people, and I just want to be like the one behind the scenes. But Daniel approached me when he was creating
Doing
the new
Red Zone,
venue,
yeah.
Red Eye.
the Red Eye, that
Red Eye.
he wanted to have original podcasts filmed within the venue, and he thought that I would be good at it. And honestly, I didn't really know Daniel that well at the time, but
Mhm.
he said he liked that. He just liked the consistency of what I was doing,
Mhm.
and he knew that.
Daniel's very bright.
He really is.
You know,
Yeah,
he's very
I think
smart guy.
he
Very
he
savvy.
appreciates like professionalism.
He does.
Yes,
in people
yes.
because like in this town, it's not always an easy trait to come by. You know?
Well, it's not only that about him. I can verify that he is the loyalist person to his
Mhm.
Yeah.
talent. If
Yeah,
you become
right.
one of Daniel's,
Yeah.
Robin Camel, Sweetie,
Mhm.
yeah.
I'm telling you, even Sweetie's last year of Sweetie's Live, Daniel was giving Sweetie jobs to do.
Yes.
He is really incredible, and people
Yeah.
need to know that about
Yeah,
him. He's not just
absolutely.
underwear parties. He's a fun
Although
guy.
there's a lot of underwear parties.
but
Yeah.
there are a lot of underwear.
But,
Have you gone to
you're
any
absolutely
underwear
correct.
parties?
Oh God, no. he wants people to actually buy tickets and stay. But,
That Jim's not doing that. Oh my God.
yeah. So he asked me to do it, and I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. I was very nervous. I brought in Freddie Cosmo, who is somebody
It's
that
adorable.
Mhm.
yes, very much.
Yeah.
He had his own radio show, Redefine Radio, and I was a guest on his show, and I had interviewed him for Thodacy, so I thought he'd be a good match. He's
Good
been a
match.
very good match. He's carrying the show with his energy, and we work well together. So it's been a lot of fun. We're
Mhm.
talking to a lot of people that I already interviewed,
Yeah.
but in a
but
more
you
intimate
put him on-
way.
yeah.
and I feel more comfortable saying what I feel about the scene on the air as opposed to
Interesting.
making
Mhm.
like little pithy social media posts, because when you write on social media, it's always taken out of context. You
Right,
think you're so
right.
funny and clever
Right.
and being
somebody-
sarcastic and dry, but somebody always takes it out of
Take
context,
it wrong,
Right.
and you get
and you have
attacked.
these
you
long,
know. Yeah.
stupid fights with people.
Yeah.
And I'm
Oh,
I'm now
I
over
don't
that.
go there. Good.
Yeah.
Don't go there.
Yeah, Matt, you always
Let
keep
them
it
think
neutral.
whatever they want.
But you brought
about
out a very interesting point, because what comes from your head
Yeah.
onto your page is quite different than when we're sitting in conversation. I love this form
Yes.
of communication, because it's completely organic. I'm not
Yes.
thinking of, oh, what's going to be cute or clever, or what's going to be the next thing that rolls out of my
Right.
mouth.
right.
Mhm.
Obviously, I'm not thinking about that, because anything can happen. But
course.
but that's the beauty of being able to podcast, and I
Yeah.
feel you can get things from people that you
Yeah.
might not normally get. You
Yes.
know?
Mhm.
Yeah, like there's some people in the scene that have been like canceled or for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Sometimes legitimate reasons, sometimes
Right.
for silly reasons, and those I would like to work my way to speaking to those people
I
and
like
to hear
that.
their
Right.
stories.
Right. I think that's great.
I remember recently Jeff Eason, who's he's a great photographer.
He
like
just
somebody,
put a picture for us.
somebody gave him some heat for posting a picture of Sherry Pie, who's been canceled. Jeff was paid to take pictures at an event,
Right.
that booked Sherry Pie, and Sherry Pie had a great look, as she always does, and Sherry Pie was canceled for reasons. And
on RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yes, long, complicated story. Google Sherry Pie. But he took a picture of her, and she was there. And people were like, how can you, you're giving her a platform, you're supporting her. Like, I just thought,
well, the
his
people
job is to take pictures of people that are there.
Thank you.
The people that are bitching wish that he would take pictures of them.
Yeah, and
that's basically
it.
No, Tim just said it.
Fuck them. I don't engage.
Yeah, and
you just said it.
You have a job. If you're giving someone a platform, fine, give them a platform. You as the consumer, it's your job what to do with that person on the platform.
Exactly.
And if you don't like that Sherry Pie was there, go talk to the company that booked her. Don't talk to the person who's getting paid, I don't know, $100, $200 or whatever.
But the problem with social media, the little minions are all empowered. And so, think back before social media, their opinion might have been told to you or at a bar when you're talking. Now, all of a sudden, my God, their opinion can go everywhere. And one incident can mushroom into 300 comments of people giving their opinion. I will never use. I just won't do that. I won't use it that way.
That's why I want to bring back that kind of a platform where you just like, okay, yes, I am giving this person a platform. Right. I want to hear what this person has to say.
Right.
And if you don't want to listen to them, don't listen to them.
Turn it off.
Totally understandable.
Thank you. You have You have every right to turn it off. Have you had a challenge in terms of, like, you've interviewed so many people?
Yes.
And I'm really up on a lot of things. I don't even know people that you've interviewed. I Google everybody. I read your stuff. Have you ever had someone that was particularly difficult or didn't get you as an interviewer?
Yeah, I guess that's happened sometimes. Most of my interviewing problems revolve around the person like not getting back to me in time. Sometimes usually the way I interview people is I text them. I go back and forth texting them. That's my preferred way, because then I can kind of like pick up on something they said and ask another question.
Right.
And then at the end I could just copy paste.
Then you copy and paste everything.
But some people insist that I email them, which takes a little more work, but I'll do that for certain people.
I'm the email girl.
Yes, which is fine, because that makes me sit down and like think about everything and research
easy
everything.
And clear for me.
Sure, yeah, and then you can take your time. And then other people want me to do a phone interview, and I hate doing that. I'll only do that for certain people.
Right.
But it's getting back, that miscommunication is always the hardest thing. And some people don't like my style, and some people don't like that I've, again, going back to platforming this other person, and they'll call me out on something. That's happened a few times. Like, dude, I don't care.
But see, I truly appreciate the fact that you will give someone who has been canceled a chance to tell their side, because that's one of the problems with social media.
Yeah. I also think that people, we're human beings, and we want to hear those stories. Like we pretend that we don't want to hear why, for instance, Sherry Pie did what she did. Like, oh, I don't even want to hear it. Yes, you want to hear it.
Of course.
You want to hear why she did it, what exactly she did. You want to hear it. You want to hear what Sharon Needles did here or there.
Mm-hmm.
But
you
that's
want to
just
know.
stuff
And
about
I'm here
people.
to find that
As
out.
a curious person, it's stuff. You want to read that stuff, but it's certainly not going to be like, who the heck has time to like give their goddamn opinion?
Yeah, a lot of people love to like look at old like Oprah interviews and Barbara Walter interviews and call them out because like she would ask about like plastic surgery or like sex or things like that.
Right, and
like,
then they use it against
how did you do that? That's so basic. Like, this was 1991. Like, you're really going to...
I love to talk about plastic surgery.
And that's fun too, of course. And more people do now, actually. They're open about it and they like to talk about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in to If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our wonderful guest, Jim Silvestri. Yay.
Yeah, I'm so glad we got to talk about plastic surgery.
Yeah.
Let's talk about plastic surgery.
Now, how can people find Thotasy and find out more about Jim Silvestri?
Thotasy.com, THOTYSSEY.com. That's my home base. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm pretty easy to find. On Facebook, Tumblr. And you can listen to my podcast that comes out every Monday. It's called Thought Lights, THOTLIGHTS. LIGHT. Oh, good, I could still spell.
Yeah.
On streaming on all platforms Monday morning. We talk to somebody new every week, and that's fun. Me and Freddie.
So Thought Light and Thought or Lights or Light.
Thought Light, like Spotlight.
Like
for
Spotlight.
thoughts.
Thought
Yes.
Thought Light.
Is that what
And
we're
also-
doing later? Is Thought Light?
Yes, we are
And-
doing
and
Thought Light.
also-
Thought Light, but we're shooting it on Wednesday
and also-
afternoon.
So,
No, yes,
uh-huh.
And it airs Monday morning.
yes, but it's just audio. It's not no video.
Oh no, I know that.
Yeah,
right.
I'll just take all my
So-
makeup off and be ugly for that.
Perfect.
So check out
Perfect.
Thought Light and also
Me too.
Thoughtsy. Thoughtsy.com.
And I have a few live events. I don't know if you want to talk about those.
Yeah, we
Absolutely,
want
right,
to
tell 'em.
everything. Tell the
Okay.
children.
So Sunday, I started a new event recently with Phil Chanel.
Oh, right.
We are at Playhouse. We're producing. I heard you call it a tea dance before. I would love it to be more of a tea dance. Right now, it's more show specific, but that's awesome too because we have 5 amazing young upcoming queens in the
Sweet.
cast.
Can you
all
tell us
turn
who
out
they
some
are?
numbers. I certainly can. We have Pietra Parker. She's Brazilian. She's
Mhm.
a beauty queen. She's the hostess. We have Milan Garçon, who is from the TV show Legendary, and she
Mhm.
turns it out. She's amazing.
Sweet.
Anila Vidal, another queen who turns it out. She won Polish the Queen, which is a
Oh yeah,
drag
that's good. Of
competition
course, yeah, of course
that
I
they
know
have there
that.
at
I know you
Playhouse.
don't have to explain any of this to me
Yes.
ever.
Yes,
Keep going.
Some people think it's called Polish the Queen, so I just
I,
wanted to
I,
specify.
I
Just
call
wanted
it-
to say
I
it.
called it that in the beginning
Yes.
too. It's not about anything Polish. Keep going.
Yes. We have Teray, who's another amazing queen that turns it out, a funny dance queen. And we have Lana Del Trey, who won the other drag competition in the Bar family, Shaquita's Drag Wars at Pieces.
Oh
So,
God, I love Shaquita.
Yes.
It's.
So-
I love the way you have found your talent and you're bringing them
Yes.
all
Yeah,
together,
absolutely.
and you're grooming them.
Yes.
Oh, I
Yeah.
used the groomer word. Excuse me.
Grooming.
Jesus Christ! But you're grooming.
But this was actually a situation where I didn't pick anyone. Like they came to me and
Mhm.
said, the owners came to me and said, this is, can you co-produce with this person? This will be your DJ. This will be the queens. And that was an interesting challenge for me
Oh,
because I'm a
interesting.
control freak and I like to
and,
Uh-huh.
pick everything
and
myself.
they're telling you,
Yeah.
Like,
you know,
okay, I'll do it and I'll make it work. And I've been given just wonderful people to work with.
I love
Excellent.
it.
That show's called
Excellent.
Play Things at Playhouse. It's a lot of fun. It's 3 to 7. Things don't really like
And this is
start to
gonna
kick
be
into like
Playhouse.
5.
every
Uh-huh.
every
Sunday.
Sunday
I want to
afternoon.
write that down because I do want to go.
Yeah. And,
And you all-
Monster has their fun tea dance, so you can go back and forth and do both.
Yeah, I
I
love
think
it.
we
It's
go a
great.
little later than Monsters, so come see us. And then right after us is Show Tunes at the City with Bootsy and Bubbles, and that's a very fun
Okay.
show. So people kind of come for both.
Fabulous, totally
Wonderful.
fabulous. Yeah.
Well, did you have another show?
I have
I
another
thought you did.
event, another
Okay.
weekly event. It's called Level Up. It's a game night. It's a geeky
Yeah, you
game
do
night.
it at
Uh-huh.
game night.
Yes, that's at Atlas Social Club every
Atlas.
Tuesday
Right.
night at 8.
On-
Me and Shane Cherry, we just have out some games for people to play.
Oh, fun.
Very like strategy geeky
Board games.
We set up some video games in the back. It's very chill. Everyone's
love it.
invited.
Yeah, everyone
I
needs
like
to
Everything's
come
that.
on.
free. And it's just like this is a large group of friends, but we add people to the group
Oh,
all
I
the
love
time.
that.
And I'm going to just jump in with one suggestion. Do you know
Yes.
the Rainbow Quest game?
No.
You need to know it. That's
Okay.
Brian Kaufman. They're playing it over at
Oh
Julius.
yes.
And
Yes.
I've had him on.
Shane, do you hear that?
I've had him
Rainbow
on my
Quest.
shows. I
Maybe we have
actually
it, I don't
have
know.
this game you need to play. So
Okay.
how do we get the game to you? Because we're out of time.
Oh,
Look,
okay.
I'll talk,
Okay.
but I want to definitely. tell
Yes,
you
but
about
we'll
that.
continue talking. But
Whatever.
right now, we just finished our broadcast for UBC and Gloop TV. This is If These Walls Could Talk with your host, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our wonderful guest, Jim Silvestri.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, now,
So now we
that's
get-
over. Now we can
Comments,
talk.
comments.
Oh,
Okay.
comments,
I love the comments.
Now
Just
we,
a
we
second.
get
I have to.
now we get naked, right?
Because I can't see it's further back, so I can't see the time. And we
This is
kind of went over.
complicated. Okay.
It's
But here we
fine.
go.
It's
I'm going to
fine to
pull
fit.
this up a little
Yeah.
bit.
It's fine.
Listen, it's me, so
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Oh, there's
Here we
Jed
go.
Ryan. Hi,
Oh,
Jed.
God, we know
I-
Jed.
Good. I
Says,
contacted him.
hi, I can't even read it.
Okay, Jed
Hi-
Ryan. Hi,
hi,
Jim.
Jim.
Hi,
Hi,
Wendy and
Tim.
Tim. I have glasses. I can do it.
Okay.
Okay,
we have a
just
lot.
scroll to the beginning for me.
Yeah, this is the
Okay,
beginning.
we have Miss Danica. Hello, Mike Danica. I can't see it. It's on your.
Dantico.
Thank you,
Yeah.
honey. Jim can see.
I
Mike
can
my
put
God.
my glasses on. This
Mike
is-
Dantico
this
from
is a sad
says
state
hello
of affairs.
from Rhode Island.
Okay.
Okay,
My tarot
so-
had to miss it, so and I'm sorry you did. Cecily Williams.
Cecily Williams. says, yes, I've been waiting for this
So have I, Cecily.
something, man.
So have I.
I'm having trouble reading to right now.
We're going to let Jim read his own comments. He's got glasses
I will.
on.
Oh, there's more from Cecily.
Yeah, we love
What are you
Cecily.
shooting, Wendy?
God,
where are you
where are
shooting?
Where am I shooting?
at?
Thank you for translating.
Nice.
I am shooting in Norwalk, Connecticut.
And Nick Lyon.
Hi, Nick.
Hi,
Nick
Wendy.
says, yes, good to see you both on the same couch again. I assume
Yes.
he means you two.
Oh, my God.
Have a great show.
All
Hello,
right.
everyone.
Hello.
Kobe Cole.
Okay.
Jim, okay, this is
Kobe
the best,
Cole, we love
this is the best
Kobe.
comment so far.
Kobe.
Jim is just brilliant, a great writer with a phenomenal sense of humor and a huge I can't read.
No,
I'm just kidding. He didn't say that part.
Kobe
But
Cole.
he said something.
I love Kobe.
Yeah.
There's Chauncey defending
Oh,
Madonna.
Chauncey
What-
Madonna.
what is-
Madonna
Madonna
tickets.
tickets aren't that expensive. I got tickets for $220. Yes.
Okay.
I heard that they released the nosebleeds now.
Are they,
So
those are
Robert-
terrible seats, huh? I really
Wendy,
did want
Tim,
to
and Jim, God bless.
All right.
From Robert
Owen. Thank you, Robert. Scroll.
Hi,
Jeffrey
beautiful. Now
Friedman,
he's looking at me.
indeed.
Oh, Jeffrey Friedman, indeed, yes. Cecily, oh my God, I hear
Je-
knew that's what thought stood
Oh,
for.
we never
Oh,
knew
she
that's
never
what
knew.
thought-
Yeah,
Step
this is
four,
good.
yeah.
This is why we do these shows, so we can explain our
Yes.
lives to people. Jed Ryan just got back
Oh.
from an Eagle Leather event down in Florida. Welcome back, Jed. Sorry you had to miss the Glam Awards. Hope it
Yeah.
was worth it.
Yes, I'm
And
sure.
Mel
I'm
Lennon.
sure it was worth it.
Mel Lennon.
Mel Lennon responded with a bunch of hearts. I love Mel
him.
Lennon. He's
I
very
do
talented.
I
too.
don't know
Isn't
Mel,
he?
but hello. Thank you for tuning in.
Actually, he came over to my place for Thanksgiving this year.
He
I did like a
Really?
Friendsgiving. I cooked a bunch
Yeah,
of food.
Tim puts a whole spread
Mel's-
out. It's
Mel's
very
incredible.
generous.
He's great.
Okay.
So Jeffrey Friedman says, enjoy their sitting at.
Oh my God, I wish I didn't put
Okay,
my
and
glasses
Jed,
on.
Oh my
Jed
God, I
Ryan
think I'm
said
beginning to think
again
I'm
about
the-
Rainbow Quest, that
Rainbow
game.
Quest,
We'll,
yes.
we'll talk about that after, absolutely.
Yes.
And yes, so thank you everybody for tuning in.
I should never put my glasses on. Now I
Freddie
see how I look like.
Cosmo.
Hi, Freddie Cosmo.
Freddie
You're
Cosmo
so
says
cute. It was
hi.
so nice to meet you in the flesh the other
Freddie.
night.
Freddie's in Florida now.
He is Jacksonville.
I was gonna say lucky bitch, but now he's in Jacksonville.
Yeah,
Florida.
it's like, yeah.
Okay, there we
Actually, I
go.
He's
really-
getting
lives
eaten
there.
by alligators. Hopefully not.
Isn't there red mold there too in the water?
There's-
The red tide
Any-
is in Jacksonville.
Every horrifying
Wow.
thing you could think of is in Florida right now.
The red
So
tide.
now
Yes.
the drag community, because you do a lot
Yes.
with of the drag.
Yes,
Um,
there's a lot of drag to be had.
right? That explosion
Yes.
after RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yes.
And have you ever been to like DragCon
No,
over at Javits?
Oh,
It's
interesting.
they
insane.
did it once or twice.
There's thousands and thousands of people. They're lined up around the block
Yeah.
to get into this.
That
thing.
does
drag
not
is so.
appeal to me. Like the drag that's been embraced by the general public. It sounds very snotty. I
No,
know.
No,
say
and
it,
I would like
yeah.
to hear
That's-
this.
But I don't really like the way that drag is consumed across the country by straight people.
Right.
I agree.
I like that they like it. I like that they like the art form, but they don't understand where it's coming from.
Absolutely.
Right.
They don't understand like the people who started the scene and
Right.
and what
I
they
agree.
stood for
I
and,
agree.
and what their talent
and
I
how
will-
bold
and-
how bold
Yeah.
they
Right.
were.
for like a lot of kids watching it, it's just about like fashion and pretty and
Right.
Yeah,
dancing.
and they don't know
and
the
just being
story.
fierce and being social media.
Dressing
And
up
I
and
get
getting
that
famous.
that's appealing, and
Right.
I don't fault these kids for liking that, but I just wish that the drag that I learned to like was more understood.
But it is
No,
up
I
to all
agree.
of us to pass that message along. And in defense of
Well-
those people that don't totally get it,
No.
they still write checks to LGBTQ organizations. And at
But-
the end of the day,
Right.
Yeah.
But the
know.
thing is, a lot of the younger ones don't. All they see is the surface. They
Yeah.
don't know or really dive into the craft
Yes.
itself.
right.
Yes.
What that.
Yeah.
Because drag, it's just evolved into almost not an empty thing, but just like the soul. You know, there
Right.
you used to have a real deep,
Yeah.
fierce, vicious soul,
Right.
to do
To
drag.
connect with it.
Yeah.
Now it's become in many ways to me, I love
It's so
the
commercial.
performances. It's
Oh, I do too.
commercial. I love it's like an
Yeah.
Olympic event. Everyone
Yeah,
does
right,
splits. I mean,
right.
it's just different.
Some performers are made for that.
Right,
Yes,
right.
Whether
That's a
drag
good
or not. and it
Absolutely.
transcends, But
right. A lot of them have
as-
dance backgrounds
Yeah.
too. That
Mhm.
never was. I
Mhm.
mean,
I miss like the intimacy and like the inappropriateness.
Right.
of-
Yes,
what
of,
drag
like,
right. Right,
a
right.
bar drag show, and people
Right.
not
That's
challenging what the drag queen says. People not saying, "Oh, because this drag queen is saying something on this stage, like that's important."
Right.
Sometimes you just have to say, "Oh, haha, whatever."
right,
Right.
and move on.
You made a dumb, like a Polish joke,
Right,
whatever.
right.
haha. Like my life is not changed by this. This is just a silly moment.
Right.
But
Right.
now people just want to react to
Oh, exactly.
everything.
I'm offended. Yeah.
Yeah.
And oh, get the fuck out of here.
Yes.
But yeah, because I came out in like 79, 80. Was when I started at the bars. I wasn't old enough, but I got a fake ID, so I went in.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course
But-
you did.
And there was always a drag queen
Yes.
somewhere in the gay
Yeah.
bar.
Mhm.
And again, I can't describe the soul of these people.
Right.
It took so much determination and so much courage to
Grit. Yeah.
Yes,
And great.
yes.
Yeah.
And of course, they would always have to do a show at some point, sometime throughout the evening.
Right.
That was just part of the process,
Yeah.
and that is kind of lost. You know, that special, that's being special is
Right.
almost
And,
lost
okay, you take-
because every
Right.
twink that gets off the bus that's moving to New York thinks they can put on a dress, a wig, with a little
Yeah.
makeup, and they're a drag queen.
When I first started coming out, like I said, I was only going to like these cruisy spaces,
Right.
and
I love it.
eventually the owner of Boots and Saddle decided to go drag. I think he liked that Drag Race was starting to happen.
So he
Uh-huh.
was
Started
trying
to
out
happen.
as a business
Yeah,
owner,
as a business
trying to
owner,
catch
right.
on to
And
that.
Lucky
Yeah.
Chains, he loved the Lucky Chains
I
model.
love Lucky Chains.
Mhm.
So he started booking drag queens, and when I saw drag queens showing up, I was not happy at first. I was
You were like, what is
Mhm.
this?
horrified of them. I was like,
Yeah.
this is just like a bad stereotype about gay men that we all wanted to be women. Or it seems so weird to talk about this now, but this is
Mhm.
Right. That's
But
what
I-
it's, and
I
it's
like
so
the
funny doing what
honesty.
you're doing now,
Yeah.
putting together.
Right.
yeah.
I'm curious because
But I remember that feeling.
But eventually, those drag queens were like the first people who just like came up and said, "Hey, I've seen you here before. What's your
Mhm.
name?
I love it.
Right,
Yeah.
Like,
right.
what are you about?" And it's like that, because that's what drag queens used to do. They used to be
Exactly.
like the hosts. They used to greet people into the
well,
community.
they were the mothers. They were
Yes.
mothers.
Right,
Right.
right,
Right.
Victoria Chase and Yuha Hamasaki, those girls.
Mhm.
Yuha, who's now big on Drag Race. Those
Mhm.
were two of them. Roxy Brooks, that was another.
Mhm.
Holly Day. I can name a bunch of
Holly
girls,
Day,
but
yeah.
Those
a lot of
ones are
girls.
even. I came up with Lip Synca,
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Sherry
still doing her
Vine.
thing.
Sherry Vine,
Yeah.
Still doing her
Sweetie.
thing, yes.
Oh,
Mhm.
all of those girls,
Yes.
Mistress from Micah,
Yes.
everybody connected.
Oh, Flotilla.
Flotilla,
Taylor.
Head of Lettuce, and
Yeah.
and all of those people.
Probably
But
not Bunny, right?
I and Bunny.
Lady
no,
Bunny.
I remember. But
Oh, God,
here's
love
what
her.
I will say, having been in this scene since the early 70s. You can jump all over me for this. I really think there's room for everyone. And I
You're
agree with
right.
you. A lot of the kids, they need to do their homework. But you know what? A lot of the kids really have like this fresh energy and this
Right,
go for
I
it.
agree.
And the art of doing their makeup. I mean,
Mhm.
Yes.
let's talk about Stephanie's Child, Jan Sport, and Laguna
Oh,
Blue, and
yeah.
when they first launched onto the scene, and the makeup that they did in it,
Mm-hmm.
everything. Jasmine, see, these people already
But
have been
it's-
around a while. Jasmine Rice LaBeija,
Right.
who
Yes.
Yeah.
they're amazing and
Yes.
beautiful, and they bring something to the party. And I think it's
Totally.
up to us to
Oh,
grow
yes.
with them,
But-
right?
And
And also-
that's something that's evolved.
And
Yes,
also
it's
just
evolved,
and
right.
also just the fact that they can now
Thank
yes.
you.
do this
Right.
Yes.
at that age.
And I want these girls to have all the opportunities that they can get.
Right. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I love that you
we
said
never
that.
got.
Yes,
Or
exactly.
that our queens never
Uh,
got.
Yes.
Exactly.
You have opportunities, Tim Moss. I'm going to make you do another sketch with me where I dress you up like a
Fine.
Oh, do it. Oh, you'd be
like
pretty. Yes,
country
I could see that.
girl.
Oh, honey, we did. I was a sleazy country
something
girl.
bad.
Yeah.
We do this.
Even
Actually,
better.
this
something
was
bad.
what,
That's what
this
Tim
was
wore.
part of my
Even
costume.
better. Gorgeous. I want to borrow that. afterwards. Yes.
I'm wondering if you have any plans. Like Linda Simpson took her years in the business and came out with Drag Explosion,
Mhm.
which was slides and then evolved into the book, right?
Yeah.
Because she had everything. Do you have any plans with, by the way, the photographs that you feature, I know the queens give them to you, but they're always beautifully photographed
Mhm.
and that you feature online. Do you have plans to do a coffee table book?
Um,
Coffee table book, I love it. Jim.
well, you know,
Silvestri's coffee table book. It's
Yes.
just such
who has
class.
coffee tables anymore? um, Before I started doing Odyssey, I was a writer and I wrote fiction and I had some things
Still a
published
writer.
in little like magazines and stuff.
Yeah.
I love that.
In this day and age, just by my patience and my like inspiration, it kind of like it's harder to tap into that stuff now, especially with Odyssey. It's just constant building lists. But I would like to maybe do something like that. I'm not a photographer, but I'd love to work with a photographer and write something and interview people.
Well, you've got the interviews. That's all I was thinking. I've read all your
just to put it out like that.
Wait, it's a no-brainer. Let's not complicate it.
Okay.
That's the kind of bitch I am. I'm just always creating things. You've got all the interviews. Okay, you need releases,
Just
of course, on the
compile them.
pictures,
Yes.
or you can
Together.
bring in. We know some great photographers. Bring them in to do the pictures. Right, but Tim's right. All you got to do is compile the interviews. This is really interesting stuff. Imagine the young Tim Moss. And what town did you come from?
Well, originally, believe it or not, I'm from 12 Mile, Indiana.
Okay, some kid sitting in 12 Mile,
We're gonna be
Indiana.
talking about that later.
And you put this book out, and we could do a whole book signing party. We can have the queens perform. It's such a great idea.
Yeah,
So let's think about it.
I've been talking to people about stuff like that.
Good.
I'll say
Yeah,
that.
good.
I'll say that.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay,
we'll see.
good. We're on the same
Excellent.
wavelength. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, Jim Silvestri, thank you so much. This was great. I love getting to sit down and get to know
Yes.
Jim Silvestri a
Because
little
we
bit
never
better.
get
And pretty
to.
soon we're going to do it all over again.
Yeah.
No, but it's going to be different.
It will be different.
Because you're doing the interview, and I want you just to ask me as many off-the-cuff things that you
I
always
certainly-
wonder, because
Absolutely.
people wonder, who the hell is she, and how has she been around so long? I'm embalmed.
Yes. Well, but perfect. What a perfect package. Just perfection.
Oh my God.
Absolute
I love it. I'm a package. Speaking of packages, Tim Moss, do you have anything you'd like to say about a
It's my
package?
favorite segue of the day.
I like packages.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
Tighter wrap, the better. Anyway, on that note,
No rap. No rap.
Jim, I knew you would be a terrific guest, and I'm really thrilled that, like, after 2 years of begging, that you came on the show.
What really? Did you? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I guess
It's okay. Like, Jim, I
my
really
my
want you
assistant
on.
must have messed up somehow. She's fired.
Do you mind reading? We've got a couple more.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
Evan Lawrence signed on.
Oh,
Hi, Evan.
Political correct. Oh, good. We're going back to the political correct. stuff.
Political
Does not
correctness
That's the
and
stuff I'm
belong
gonna
in
get in
drag. I
trouble
agree.
for.
Politically correctness does not belong in drag. I love it.
If there's one thing that people love happening, it's when 40-something-ish people talk about political correctness.
Oh, and
That's what it's
again,
popular.
Jed Ryan says.
Yeah, nowadays,
Nowadays, Lady Bunny is considered scandalous. She is definitely not politically correct. That's for sure. Lady Bunny, I
Girl,
love
he
Lady
also
Bunny,
says-
but she's too much of a Bernie bro these days.
Yeah, and Jed.
Michael
also
Musto
said-
once published a whole book of compilations from his columns. Really?
there you
There
go.
you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. And
Okay,
Evan
see?
Lawrence called out Girlina.
Yes.
Yes,
Remember?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Lena.
And Nick
Lena
Lyons.
Great show,
Great.
guys.
Thank you,
Oh,
Nick.
love you,
We
Nick.
only do
Thank you,
great
Nick
shows.
Lyons.
Well, thank you so
Thank
much,
you, everybody
everybody,
who
for
tuned
tuning in to
in.
If These Walls Could Talk
Maybe look
with
better with my
Wendy
glasses.
Stuart Tym Moss and our wonderful guest, the fabulous Jim
Yay.
Silvestri. Yay!
What a great time I had. Thank you
Oh
so
my
much.
God, of
Likewise.
course. So did we.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.